presented by Under Armour and Sleeper Fantasy. Welcome to Light Years. Andy Lou, we're recording this Monday night. Warriors win over the Brooklyn Nets, 109-98. Got a special guest. Got senior NBA reporter from Yahoo Sports, Jake Fisher, coming on the show a little later tonight. But good Warriors win. Good win against the Brooklyn Nets. Was not a pretty game, but I think it was an interesting game in general. If I told you going into the game, the Warriors would only take 22 threes, would be 4 of 22 from the three-point line, and all 4 makes would be Steph Curry. So everyone not named Steph Curry was 0 of 11 from 3. What would you think the result would have been?
The result would have been the same as what we've seen the last few weeks, right? They lose by maybe 8 or 9.
Yeah, and that's all what happened tonight. They won. Brooklyn, struggling side, struggling more than the Warriors. Not a particularly good team in their own right, but you're on the road. Third game of a road trip. You're down a couple bodies. No Wiggins, no GP2, no Chris Paul, of course. Moses Moody, first game back. Didn't really play too much tonight. Win's a win. You got to take, at this point, the Warriors have to take wins where they can get them, So
I thought it was pretty cool to see, and we'll get to the lead because I love when you bury the lead. I love it because we don't want to start off on too hot. But I genuinely love seeing guys like Guy Santos play and then play well, play hard.
Andy Kerr.
It's cool. I mean, that's why he was in. I thought it was funny because, I watched the first half. I'm like, I don't know. Then he closes the game. Podziemski plays super hard. Man, thank goodness he was all right. Claxton kind of pulled a Draymond on him, kind of clocked him pretty hard there, right? So thank goodness Paz was okay.
Another double-double. Dude, the dude is a rebounding machine.
The thing with him is he's got this Steph ability where, because Steph's a pretty good rebounding guard for who he is. The guys just know where the ball is going to go. I think that's innate. Draymond's kind of he has that in him. That's why he's been so good at so small. Guys who just know where. I think Looney had that in him before he kind of lost it this season. But I don't know, Sam. I enjoy watching guys that give a fuck. And that to me is Podziemski, obviously, all season. Guy Santos tonight. Lester Quinones, who I don't know if I love him, but plays so hard out there. Moses Moody came back tonight, played very hard. He struggled a little bit, but he played very hard. And then Kuminga, young guy. I mean, obviously, all the fun stuff, 29 points, 10 rebounds, whatever, right? But it's just cool to see the young guys just play hard, right? Because it's just, I'm tired of watching vets on this team not play hard. We've seen that. We've seen that a lot. And it was just nice to see the kids play hard and they win.
I have an alternate theory for you. Are the vets not playing hard, or have they just lost one step too many?
Yeah. They just
I guess it's a mix, because I can't say Wiggins has lost a step.
Well, I was going to say, what does that say about Wiggins? What does that say about Wiggins?
But in Klay's case, it's jarring to watch them play without him. And we know the formula with this team. The formula with this team has always been about putting two-way versatility around Steph and Draymond. Steph is maybe the greatest offensive player of all time, certainly the best of his generation, on the short list of all time. You see that stat, most 40-point games over the age of 30, insane. Sorry, most 50-point games over the age of 30. That's insane, because he's a 6'3" guard. It's like him above Wilt, LeBron, and MJ. Just think about that. That's insane.
True skill. True skill, by the way. He's just not putting his head down and getting to the basket. Hey, look, if that's what you do, I can't blame you. I mean, Kuminga does that half the time. Good for you.
I love Kuminga.
I love it.
By the way.
I love it, but Steph can't do it. So his version of 50 points is why it resonates so much with people, right? It's why so many people still
artist.
He's still the number one jersey. He's still the number one jersey. He didn't switch his number. He didn't switch his team for the 6th time, right? He didn't do any of these gimmicks to try to get sales. Like, he's just number 30. Golden State Warriors. Been here for 2 decades and still the number one guy. It's amazing. People love him.
Yeah, he's awesome. And then to tie the point together, Draymond.
Right.
I mean, he's still the smartest defender in the NBA. He's still as good as it comes to quarterbacking a defense. If you surround those two guys with versatility and two-way play on both ends, it's unbeatable. And I'm not saying they've done that, but tonight they made a very conscious decision to say, you know what? Klay just looking old these days. He's just looking old. He's slower. He doesn't realize his shot isn't what it used to be. He's not what he once was. And so they just went with young guys who give a shit around the two of them and play hard around the two of them. And it worked. Now, I don't know how much Guy Santos, Pajemski, and Kuminga, 3 guys 21 and younger, is going to work against better teams. But it points back to the formula that we know which works, which is put two-way guys around Steph and Draymond. They don't need to be the fanciest offensive players. They just need to be guys who play hard and can do something, hit a shot, cut, get a rebound, do that sort of stuff. I'd be remiss if I wasn't looking at this and going like, man, maybe they should just, we're up against a deadline. Get a Royce O'Neal who hit everything in the second half.
What was that?
Get a Dorian Finney-Smith. Like, get some of these guys who are just wing two-way guys who play hard and can hit shots, right?
Yeah.
So
are we doing the Klay now? Because you mentioned the bench.
Yeah,
are we doing the Klay?
We're gonna get into it a little bit because it's
okay.
How do you ignore it? They went with Guy Santos, who I guess he's technically on the roster, but he's pretty much a two-way guy as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Can't shoot the ball yet. Maybe it'll come around.
They're from the free throw line.
They're definitely look. If Guy Santos can hit open catch and shoot threes, he's an NBA player.
Yeah, sure.
If he can't, he's floating around as this like end of the bench goon guy who's sometimes in the G League, sometimes in the NBA.
I love it.
Yeah. But like the point stands, which is just like high energy wings. It was ugly. It wouldn't have been ugly if those guys could hit shots. By the way, it would have been a 3-quarter game if those guys hit shots. But if those guys could hit shots consistently, now we're talking about like the 2016 Warriors.
Right.
And that's like the formula they had then, which was Steph, Draymond, and a bunch of versatility at a high level. And this is more versatility at a young figuring it out level.
Yeah. So there's a couple things you said a lot. So the first thing I want to dive into is the wing, the two-way wings around Steph and Draymond. That's always been the formula. I think Kuminga has established himself into being one of those guys, at least offensively. I think just pretty obvious. 28 points. He puts his shoulder down. I mean, it's just right to the rim. He shot 12 free throws tonight. One of the craziest things this season in terms of his leap is that I'm not actually worried about him going to the free throw line. I feel like he's going to make it most of the time. It's not like a Wiggins thing where I just know Wiggins going 1 for 2 or 0 for 2, which is hilarious. But with Kuminga,
he got the Jake Moody eyes where you look at him, you're like, oh no.
Oh yeah. Did you see Wiggins against the Lakers? I mean, the dude shit his pants and went 0 for 2. Wasn't even close. With Kuminga, you kind of just know, hey, he gets on the line 4 times, he's going 3 for 4 every time, which is super solid. That's 75% for a guy that's gonna get there a lot. So I think that's one of the wings that's obvious. But Sam, the other one that's tough is if you're telling me tonight that Guy Santos, and this is unsustainable that he's going to be able to play 18 minutes in winning games. But if you're telling me that Guy Santos played 18 minutes and closed over Klay Thompson against a pretty mediocre Brooklyn Nets team, that says a lot about Klay. It says a lot. And I think what point are we getting to right now? I don't know. That's the sad part about this, is that I don't know where we're at with him. He can't be happy with it. He still played 30 minutes, but
the coaching staff is sending a message.
Yes.
They're not punishing, they're not embarrassing Klay publicly. But they're just doing the look, man. If you don't have it, we're going to go away from you. We've given you enough time. It's just how it has to be. And honestly, that's kind of how they have to coach the game. Like, they can't keep giving games away. We're way too deep into the season.
They can't.
That's where it comes down to. Let's talk Kuminga real quick, because I think one of my favorite things about tonight's game, or one of the more interesting things about tonight's game, was he was not particularly great in the first half. Wasn't bad. They adjusted and let him go one-on-one in the post in the second half, and part of that was just surrounding him with guys who would clear out and let him do it. But it works. When's the last time the Warriors had a guy you could just clear it out in the mid post, let him go one-on-one? It has to be Kevin Durant. He's obviously not KD. You're not the shot maker KD is, maybe. But he's such a bully in one-on-one scenarios, particularly when you space the floor out. And they don't have shooters, but they have, kind of shooters. I don't know what you want to call them then. Well, that's why you don't play a big, to be honest, to let Kuminga operate in the post, I know people are mad that they don't play a center, but the flip side not playing a center is Kuminga gets a one-on-one, and very few people can guard him in one-on-one. Who can guard him in one-on-one? Kawhi Leonard? Probably.
I mean, the best defenders in the world. That's
yeah. Right? That's the point. Like a defensive player of the year, maybe. That's it.
What is Mikal Bridges? I saw Kuminga put Mikal Bridges in the hoops tonight multiple times, and this is not.
That's an all NBA defender.
It is. Right there. It is. He's not a better player than Mikal Bridges. I'd rather have Mikal Bridges 10 out of 10 times. But you look at Kuminga put Bridges in the hoop, and you're just sitting there like, what are we watching? I mean, this kid might really be something special, and I think so often, as Warriors fans, or even like you think of Steve Kerr, so often when you look at Kuminga, you think of the shortcomings. And I think Steve Kerr does this a lot, which is obvious because
Steve definitely does this.
It's obvious. Undisputed, he does too much. That's why Kuminga hasn't played at all in 2.5 seasons. But sometimes the game, and I don't really do the ball, don't lie, Sam. Sometimes the game just comes down to a bucket, right? Sometimes it really just comes down to that. And Kuminga, better than anyone else on this team right now, not named Steph Curry, can do it. Right? It just Klay can't do it anymore. Wiggins somehow can't do it anymore. And other than that, there's no one else on this team that can just go and put his head down and just sometimes just get a basket. And Kuminga's that guy. And I don't know. Sometimes the game's just that simple. He came out in the second half. You said he had a bad first half. He did. Came out in the second half 7 in a row. Just seven in a row. It was pretty easy. I mean, just go right to the hole. It's easy for him, I should say. Not easy for anyone else.
And it was
easy for him.
And give Kerr a little credit on that adjustment. They basically decided to mismatch hunt, which is not something he's traditionally liked to do, But it was just kind of like, look, man, they can't guard him one-on-one. Get him the ball in the spots he's comfortable with and let him go one-on-one. And that's a concession to the system. That's a concession they have to make. He's talented enough. He second leading scorer tonight. Second leading scorer pretty much every night in January, right? Like at a certain point, you just have to play to your roster a little bit,
Insane. Insane that he's quickly made that jump into being the most. I mean, against Atlanta, I think they win that game if Wiggins is able to guard Trae. So I just, one thing that's going to be curious for me. I know we got the big trade deadline week coming up here, and we got Jake coming on to talk about it. But I think one thing also that I'm really curious to see is teams are going to guard Kuminga differently. They're going to find a way to not have him just get these lanes to the basket. And what is going to be Kuminga's counter? You could argue that's good for Steph, good for Klay, right? Presumably that if they're going to counter with Kuminga, it's going to be easier for the rest of the team. But I don't know. I'm fascinated to see what happens because one thing I love tonight from Kuminga is 0 for 0 from the 3-point line. Oh, I love it. We don't need it. We don't need a single one. Just get right to the hole every single time. So I wonder what.
Ironically, it kind of speaks to what they do need, which is at some point teams are going to start walling.
Well, not from him. They don't need it. Pods can make a shot, right? Klay to make a shot, right? So
fair. Like someone has to hit a shot. But to your point, if Klay is not going to be, I don't know, man. The Klay thing, maybe this is just a spell and Klay comes out of it in a week or two, but it does, I don't know. Doesn't feel.
Whoa, you seem a little. What's the don't feel? It's a little worrisome. Yeah, it's a little worrisome.
I think it's over.
Wow.
I think it's over.
I think I would like to see less minutes. I think he's a little tired. I think he's a little gassed out. Can I do this? Can I do the Klay defending Klay thing? Sure. I think he's tired. I think you could tell. I think it's a lot right now on him. There's a lot of stress. I think he knows that everyone's kind of looking at him and talking about him like he's completely washed. So I think maybe he needs a week, or I think he just maybe needs less minutes. Right now, he's just used to playing 35 minutes a game. So I kind of feel bad for him more than anything. I don't know if the comments are kind of talking about him being mad or him forcing it. I mean, he shot 9 shots tonight in 30 minutes. That's not forcing it.
Yeah, I don't think he really forced it in any capacity. Like there was some ugly shots in there. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah. So anyway, we'll maybe Klay, we'll leave him alone for a couple games. We'll see what happens. Anyway, tonight's Light Years podcast, we are brought to you by Under Armour, Curry brand. Steph Curry makes you believe like you can do anything. And the Curry 11s are specifically designed with ultimate bounce, grip, and stability to allow everyone to do their thing. New generations of ball players are coming up, showing the basketball world that the old rules do not apply. The future is exciting, fast, positive, and hungry. This NBA season, rock with your favorite player and rep his shoes on and off the court. The Curry 11s are perfect for both the committed and casual ballers. The UA Warp Tech makes the shoe feel like it was designed for your feet. Locked in no matter what you do on the court. Stopping your tracks with dual density, UA flow, cushioning, and traction. An emergency brake you don't even notice. Steph's 11th shoe, signature shoe, steps into the second decade of his sneaker career, pulling colorway inspiration from the wonders of a positive and modernized future on off the court. Take these kicks with you when you leave scrimmage, rep UA wherever you go. Do your thing. Change the game. The Curry 11, Future Curry, available now at currybrand.com. And we are brought to you by Game Time. If you ever had a frustrating ticket buying experience, everyone has had it. You can't get last-minute tickets, or it's way too expensive, or you're jumping between 4 different places to find the best price to go, and you end up just not going. You should not have to worry about that with Game Time when you buy your tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Game Time. They're obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats and the Game Time guarantee. The Game Time guarantee means you always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110%, not 100%, 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LIGHTYEARS, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LIGHTYEARS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Ooh. Live quotes.
This is Steve Kerr pregame discussing, it's been a topic about how they need a center in general. And I feel like this is an interesting quote in context of what we just watched.
Already, but the sustainability of Draymond at the 5. I mean, he looked like he was a little winded late in that Atlanta game. I mean, I don't know if you thought that was because he was playing center the whole game, but where are you at on how sustainable it is to 30 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, there really aren't a lot of Joel Embiids in the league anymore. So I don't worry so much about Draymond playing the 5. I think that game being a back-to-back, and Atlanta's got some big guys. The combination. I mean, so it's not just that Draymond's playing 5. It's that he's a little bit older, and we don't have a big team around him. So if we had a little more size and physicality around him, then I think it would make things a little bit easier on him. But I think the 5 is really the perfect spot for him, where he is in his career, where the league is, and how everybody's playing.
He was in with Trace for a little bit. There was one play where he kind of crashed into Trace. He said he's just got to get used to having that rim protector behind him. What do you think of that pairing, and is that a way you can maybe spell some of the physicality of putting them together?
Yeah, I mean, we've played Draymond with Loon for a long time, and the two of them have represented, our best defensive lineup, given what they do together on the inside. That lineup hasn't clicked this year. It's getting harder and harder to play without, spacing and the kind of spacing you need to spread defenses out in today's game. So we do want to.
I think you pretty much summed up why they don't want a center in one thing right there, which is Jonathan Kuminga. He doesn't want to put a big body parked inside with Draymond, who no one's guarding on the perimeter anyway. And then with Kuminga, whose best option is operating out of the post. You can't have 3 guys operate out of the post. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it comes down to. Do I think they could use a center? Yes, because there's a lot of minutes in a game and you can't just play that lineup 48 minutes every night in general.
That's my point.
But that's kind of the logic behind it when people – I feel like it's always a popular topic to be like, the Warriors need a center. The Warriors need a center. Yeah, to a degree. They definitely need a role-playing center to eat some minutes.
Yes.
But if you want to unlock their best lineup around Kuminga, around Draymond, around Steph, it involves 2 other wings. It doesn't involve putting a big man in there. You want a big man for the rotation. You don't need a big man for those closing lineups. You saw the recipe at the end of this game. And I'm not saying Guy Santos, Pajemski, that's the Western Conference Finals lineup. I'm saying you find better players who can do what they do. That's your best version of a lineup.
Well, I think we're arguing about 15 minutes a game right now. Not you and I, but I think like, you know, maybe me and the Warriors, maybe, because I felt strongly about this for a couple years now, is the 15 minutes Kevon Looney played tonight. He actually played very well, right? I was very happy. You know, I love Looney. You know, we love Looney. So it made me very happy to watch Kevon Looney play well, because not only is it cool for him being a Warriors fan favorite, but the Warriors need a big guy that can just soak up 15 so that Draymond isn't dying out there. Although you could argue the guy hasn't played half the season, so why is he dying? But besides that point, those 15 minutes I think are crucial so that Clint Capella isn't dropping 30 on you at age 50. So I think my point is that, can they get a guy that can do that? Now, if you tell me that Looney's just going to be a solid big for 15 minutes again, then yeah, maybe they're fine. Maybe they're fine. I'm not saying like they need to go out and get Nick Claxton, although he'd be nice, 7 blocks a night. He'd be nice for him. But you know, maybe they'll argue you don't want to trade 1st-round pick for him, right? Or 2 1st-round picks for him. But they do need to find a center
we know they don't want to trade any picks.
Yeah, they definitely not. But I'm just saying they need to find someone. They can't just ride this Draymond at the 5 thing for 48. You said it. It can't do this for the rest of the season. And then they're sitting Trace Jackson Davis, seems like just kind of no matter what at this point. So it's just, Looney, are you going to play well or are you not going to play well? So far, he hasn't played well. So if that's the case, they've got to find a center that can play those minutes that just doesn't make him so small. Because, you know, Wiggins kind of playing the 4 isn't great either. I mean, the guy's getting hurt. The guy's been hurt ever since he's had to basically play up. Wiggins not a 4, he's a 3. And at this point, Kuminga maybe he's a 4 on defense-ish, but he's definitely a 3 on offense, right? Or yeah, maybe I'm mixing it up a little bit. But either way, I still feel like they do need a big, and maybe that's just Looney. Maybe that's just Looney. But to your point, you're saying, can they just get someone that can do some of this?
I'm saying if you're talking about what your priority is, my priority is finding a guy who can fit that closing lineup.
Right.
And just like, you can't go get an Andre Drummond. You can't go get like, why can everyone sign Goons in the Warriors or not? You know,
Bismack Biyombo just randomly is back in the league. Remember early in the season for Memphis, right? So it's like,
I don't know. I just feel like the more I watch this team, the more I think they need to lean into versatility around Draymond and Steph. And honestly, if they can't find a guy who can eat 5-10 minutes, that's on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
That's more on the coaching staff than a need thing.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I think we agree there. Either way, get that Chris Paul contract off the books. Get us someone that can actually play. Guy Santos, I love him, but sheesh.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, just another big JK game. That's all I want to say right now. Yeah. Why don't you pay another bill and then we get our guy Jake. We'll get the Jake interview.
Well, we're doing the segment, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're doing the are you pulling it up?
Hold up.
That's right. That's how we're doing it. I guess we can cut this out. We are brought to you by Sleeper Fantasy. Here's what you got to do. You use promo code LIGHTYEARS. You get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms used for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Here's what we got. Tomorrow, we've got the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. This is one of the best games, I think, that is going to be on TV, national TV, the last couple weeks for sure, at least since the Warriors played the Lakers. But here's what I've got. I've got a 4-leg parlay. I'm getting ready for the Super Bowl, right? I got a 4-leg parlay to 7x my money. Number one, I've got Brad, who's coming off a great game. Looks like he's finally got his legs under him, over on the 1.5 3-point makes. I've got friend of the show, Samuel, friend of the show, Kevin Durant, on the over on 25.5 points. That's easy money.
That's easy money.
That's easy money, our guy. Then I've got Dame, 23.5 points. I've got under. He struggled this season. I don't really like the way that him and Giannis play together because they don't really play together. It feels like that's just a my turn, your turn thing. I've got the under. And then this one might be the easiest one along with KD. I've got the Giannis double-double.